Welcome, folks, and welcome to another Let's Talk, another Blood Bowl related one. And you may have noticed the title says Big Rule Changes. Now, for those who are unaware, a couple of days ago, a new set of rules was released in the recent FAQ. Now, the biannual FAQ that they're doing for Blood Bowl is basically every so many months they will bring out an FAQ to say if there's any rule changes. And oh boy, this is big. Mainly for the Underworld denizens. Why is this big? Well, as many may not know, Underworld denizens have been dominating the Blood Bowl scene for quite some time. And this new update has changed the rules. So let us get to this, shall we? This is the update. Over the past months, we've been keeping close eye on the state of Blood Bowl, looking at tournament results with win percentage, questions sent out by our FAQ inbox. We've answered some of more burning questions, as well as taking the opportunity to rebalance a few of the teams. Underworld denizens are one of them, and this is why. It's fair to say the Underworld denizen teams were dominating for some time now. No shit. So we've opted to rebalance slightly by bringing them in line with the rest of the teams. As a result, we have removed swarming. That's right. The Underworld denizens do not have swarming. They've took it away. So that means that they can no longer flood the pitch and overwhelm their opponent. So what does this mean for the other snotlings, like teams that have them? Well, as far as I'm aware, the swarming is still legal within snotling teams, but not in the Underworld denizen team. This is huge. So that means we could see a massive shift in the Underworld denizen teams. Because of the fact is, right, without swarming, they can't flood the pitch, and it means now snotlings are no longer a viable option anymore. I'm not joking, guys. They've now become from being a viable option to now near non-viable because, like, well, why do you want to put a snotling there? I mean, he's a cheap player, but that's all he is. Without the swarming to back up, it's just... This is a massive rule change. Now, grounding and fouling. This was also a change. One thing has become apparently constant growth of fouling meta, where coaches are protesting fouling opponents off the pitch. This is becoming increasingly prevalent, so we've decided to lessen the impact slightly before players with God skill will be able to provide offense and defense assist to foul action. Makes it easier to stick the boot in. In this update, we have changed so that God now only provides assist to blocking action instead. Right, now this is another massive change. Because in the meta, if you had God, you could literally just absolutely just beat that living snot out of someone. But now they've changed it. So basically, in this update, we have changed so that God now only provides assist to block actions instead. So that means the fouling action with the blocking, gone. So that means, because there were a lot of dwarf teams that were using getting a lot of God, and they could just pile drive their way through a player. But now that's gone. Oh dear. Goblin Bombers. Now, this is another one. One of the smallest changes to the Goblin Bombers who gain access to pass skills on primary rather than secondary. This brings them in line with the likes of the Snotling Flungers that makes them adept of chucking their iconic bombs. Goblin coaches rejoice. Now, this is massive. So that means they get access to pass skills on their primary rather than secondary. So we're going to see a lot of Goblin Bombers having a hell of a lot of a good time. Next is the Bloodlust classification. Now, this is there was a bit of a mixed thing about this. So let's see what they said about this. To clarify the number of interactions with Bloodlust X plus trait. Does the player have Bloodlust if they begin the activation prone? What happens if they're stunned or stunned again by be bitten? How does it interact with foul appearance? All have been tackled in this FAQ. So basically, they've sorted out the Bloodlust thing. Gnomes. So the newest team to stroll onto the pitch across the Blood Bowl is the Gnomes. Have caused quite a stir across the community. They have small confusion about regards to Trickster trait. So we have provided some clarification to help. We've also mentioned the Gnomes blog. So basically, so their discount rate only applies to Halfling. So they don't get the Halfling Master Chef rule. So yeah. So basically, this is a big change. So the trickster's being clarified. The bloodlust's been clarified. So there's been a lot of things that's happened. So this is send them like an email if you want to send an email. But so the next update, guys, is not until November. So the bloodlust has had a bit of a clear up. So while we're on that subject, let us look at this FAQ. So let's go to the FAQ. So we'll go to Blood Bowl. So this was done a couple of days ago. So let's have a look at it. So what has really changed? So this is the new FAQ. So there's like quite a lot, but we'll get to this point. So this is the one we were talking about, was the vampires. So if it's magenta, this is the change. So let's start with the first one. If a player's been bitten by a vampire, the result of a failed bloodlust roll, becomes stunned, even though it's already stunned, do they roll over, become prone at the end of the turn in which they were stunned at the end of the following turn? So that means it's changed. So it's going to be the following turn they can change. So if they get stunned in the turn they were stunned, they cannot do it until the following turn. So basically they have to wait 2 turns. Good to know. So we'll keep going down. Here's the next magenta one. Can a player with MA of 2 or less attempt rush or stand up instead of attempting a +4 stand up? No. So basically, you can't do anything. If you're movement 2, you have to attempt to get up first. Next one. Can pro skill be used to reroll the dice when a player attempts a stand up? No. That's new. So basically, a pro skill cannot be used in a stand-up attempt. It has to be, they have to deal with what they got. So if you roll a 4, that's it. You got to use a normal reroll, not pro. So let's look for the next magenta. Because remember, the magenta is what you're looking for. Here we are. If a player uses ball and chain move special action and moves out of a tackle zone of a player with tentacle skills, does the player with tentacles get to use the skill? No. So basically, this was a thing that was happening as well with the tentacles, that, if you could use the tentacles to grab the ball and chain to keep them pinned. Now they can't. They have to accept whatever happens. If a player uses Fumblerooski skill to begin their activation without the ball and then pick it up, does the activation, during activation, can they still use Fumblerooski skill during the activation? Yes. So that's a new trick. Interesting. So let's move down the pages. Right, guys, this is what you're looking for. Like, this is good to get a hold of if you want to learn some of the rules, but it's magenta ones we're looking for. Here's another one. Now, this is the Bloodlust. Now, this is the one we want to know about, the Bloodlust. If a player with Bloodlust trait begins their activation prone, do they still roll for Bloodlust? Yes, they do. If a player with Bloodlust X trait fails to roll the Bloodlust, and can they continue movement after bitten a thrall in order to score, make a pass, or reposition? No. After the mollusk has been bitten the thrall, they may move no further unless they have the rule specific states otherwise, such as running pass. Right, so this is important. Once they bite, that's it. They stop dead unless they have the skill. So that's new. So the vampires, once they bite, that's it. They stop still because they've got to drink. So you've got to be really smart about using this. What happens when a player with Bloodlust X trait targets a player with a foul appearance skill and fails both the Bloodlust roll and the foul appearance? Now this is interesting. The player must first take the Bloodlust roll. If this is a fail, they may choose to change their direction, declare action to a move action, which in case they will not need to roll for foul appearance. If they do not, and they will need to roll for foul appearance as normal, if this is a fail, then their action is wasted and the activation will end. This will result in a turnover if they're unable to bite an adjacent thrall teammate. Right. So basically what that's telling us is that if you fail the Bloodlust and fail the foul, fail to, bite, the turn ends. So you've got to be smart about it. It's a very interesting about Bloodlust. So, and this is the Gnomes one. This is the recent one, the Trickster. When a player uses Trickster trait, does the player begin being removed from the pitch, then placed again, counts as a player's movement? No. That's interesting. It's a placement, not a movement, such as any result interaction with the players moving, such as the shadowing or tentacle skill, will not come into effect. That's pretty nasty. So that means they could just go poof, disappear, and they could still move. Okay. If a player uses Trickster trait and places themselves in a square containing the ball, do they tend to pick it up? No. So its class is not a placement, not a movement. As such, the ball will immediately bounce. So basically, guys, you can't use Trickster to pick up a ball. That's not allowed. Interesting. So we still got more erratas to go through. So here's guard. Now this is the big change in guard. When a player is performing a block action, including part of a blitz action, the player can offer both offense and defense, regardless of how many opponents play out. So basically, guard will always provide both. Inducement, Halfling Master Chef. Okay. They changed the cost to 300,000 gold pieces, 1,000 for Halfling team. So basically, they've changed the cost of the Halfling Chef, so he's made it more expensive. Bomber can have past skills. Swarming was removed, and I think we're down to it. Yep. So they've also changed the tier list as well. So here's the new tier list. Tier 1, Amazon, Chaos Dwarves, Dark Elves, Dwarves, High Elves, Lizardmen, Norse, Shambling Undead, Skaven, Underworld. What else? These are the rest. Gnomes, Tier 3, no surprise. How the hell the Ogres are there, I don't know. They should be in Tier 2 at least, because they've got good players now. And Megastar, Cindy, Pennywhistle is the new star player that's come in. So, yeah. Now that we've had a look at the book and the rules, these are massive changes. I mean, God has changed now. Bloodlust is now more clearer. Trickster's changed. And the swarming is the biggest one of them all, guys. The swarming. Because, one, there's no more, like, flooding the pitch now with the Underworld. Now, will this change their tier and their standing? I believe it will. Because they now can no longer overwhelm. And we're going to see now a change in dynamic now. Because it's like, well, why would you want a Snotling? Yeah, he's cheap. But why would you want him? You can't use a swarm. And he's an easy target. So we could see the Snotlings being removed from the Underworld team rosters. And just be all Goblin and Skaven. What do you think? What do you think of the new rule changes? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Are you surprised at some of these changes? Leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you on the next Let's Talk. I'll catch you later.